Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of reading Reddit stories while playing Minecraft. Whether you're here to enjoy this amazing gameplay, or if you want to put this in the background while you chill, while you do something, be my guest. Let's get right into it. First story. I catfished my best friend just to see if you like me. Throwaway account because I'm too ashamed to post this under my real account. I, 22F, catfished my best friend, 22M, 2 months ago. I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't plan for it to get out of hand, but it did. And now, I feel like I've created a mess I don't even know how to clean up. It started out as curiosity, and then it became obsession. Now it's this horrible, heavy secret I carry every time I see him. His name is Blank. We met in sophomore year of high school. He was the kid who always wore the same figured hoodie, always made sarcastic jokes in math class, and somehow always got away with it because the teacher secretly liked him. We bonded during a group project and never really stopped talking after that. Over the years, he's become everything. My best friend, my go-to call at 2 a.m., the person I text when I see a dog on the street or have a stupid dream. We went to different colleges, but stayed close. He went off to a state school and I stayed local. We visited each other a few times a year. There was this one time when he stayed over during winter break and we stayed up all night watching dumb horror movies and eating hot Cheetos. And I swear to God, the way he looked at me, I thought he was going to kiss me. But he didn't. And I didn't either. So we kept being just friends. I dated other people. He dated a sophomore year girl that I couldn't stand. I never said it out loud, but I thought she was a fake and loud and women liked him because he was nice to her. But I let it slide because I was the friend. Fast forward to earlier this year, I was single again, and he was single again. And we were texting constantly. Like falling asleep on FaceTime kind of texting. But still, nothing ever crossed the line. I started to wonder if maybe I'd misread it all. Maybe he never saw me that way. Maybe I was just a comfort blanket for him. Always there, always supportive, always platonic. And that's when I made the account. I created an Instagram profile. I used a random girl's Pinterest photo. She looked kind of like me but prettier. Like me, I had a personal stylist and knew how to count her. I gave her a name, Kayla. Made up a bio. Gave her a few interests, same music taste, same books, lived one city over. I followed a few random name accounts to make it look real, and then I followed Blank. He followed back. That night, he messaged Kayla. Hey, do I know you from somewhere? I panicked. I didn't reply until the next morning. And then it began. It started light. Nah, I don't think so. Well, you popped up in my explore page and you seemed cool. He replied with a mean. Then I asked what I was into. We talked about bands, TV shows. It was terrifying how easy it was to make him laugh. To make him open up. Over the next 2 weeks, Kayla and Blank talked every single day. He told her about his job. How he didn't feel like he was doing what he actually cared about. How he missed his mom's cooking. How he once tried to learn guitar, but gave up after 3 chords. Things he never told me. Not like this. Then one night, he told Kayla something that made my heart drop into my stomach. We were talking about relationships and deal breakers, and I asked him if he'd ever been in love. He said, I think I was, a while ago. She was my best friend, and we were really close. But I never told her, because I thought it would ruin everything. I don't think she ever saw me that way. I remember staring at my phone, rereading the message 100 times, barely able to breathe. He was talking about me. I knew it. I almost confessed right then, almost dropped the act. But instead I said, that's really sad. Did she ever find out? And he said, nah, we're still friends. She's got no idea. I think I'm over it though. Some things just are meant to be. That night, I cried myself to sleep. And then the next day, I deleted the account. blocked him, erased the DMs, took everything down. Kayla disappeared like she never existed. A few days later, he texted me, pissed. Did you ever know a girl named Kayla? I played dumb. Told him I didn't. That was 6 weeks ago. We still talk, still hang out, but it's not the same. Not for me. Every time he laughs at my jokes or sends me a meme, I feel like a liar. Every time I see his name on my screen, I remember that he did love me once, but now he's convinced I didn't love him back. Because I was too scared to be honest. I don't know if I'll ever tell him. Sometimes I think he'd hate me. Other times I think he'd just be disappointed. And that might be worse. Anyway, that's the story. I've catfished my best friend just to see if he liked me. And now that I know the truth, I'm more heartbroken than I've ever been. That is an insane story. I mean, I don't know what I would do in your position because, on one hand, you can't tell him that you made a fake account and that you know. And on the other hand, it seems you clearly had no idea on how to initiate anything. And even if you did say he was over you. So it's very, very tricky. And honestly, I have no idea what I would do in your position. Let me know in the comments if you have any advice for this woman, and hopefully she ends up seeing this video. Let's move on to story number 2. This is probably the lowest thing I've ever done. Okay, it still keeps me up at night. I, 24M, started therapy last year because I was spiraling. Like, actually spiraling. I had lost my job at a tech startup after they downsized. I had to move back in with my mom, which was already strained. I had gone from having my own place, my own schedule, to sleeping in my childhood bed surrounded by dusty soccer trophies and peeling band posters. I felt like a failure in every direction. No work, no purpose, no direction, just this thick, invisible fog that clung to everything I did. My mom finally pushed me to see someone, Dr. A. She worked out of this cozy little office above the bakery that always smelled like cinnamon and yeast. She had soft brown eyes, used framed certificates on the wall, in a quiet, calm voice that made it weirdly easy to spill everything. I didn't even want to talk at first, but she just let the silence sit until I cracked. She was patient, kind, too kind. Sometimes she'd go over our 50 minutes and never mention it. She would say things like, grief doesn't always come from death. Sometimes it's the death of who you thought you'd be. That line stuck with me. It made me cry harder than anything I'd heard before. But here's the problem. I just couldn't afford therapy. After 3 months, my insurance ran out. She offered me a sliding scale rate, $25 a session, and even did 2 sessions for free. She said she believed in me, but she didn't want money to get in the way of healing, and I told her I'd pay her back. And instead, I stole from her. One session, near the end, she left the room to take a call. Something about her son's dentist appointment. I remember because it felt so charmingly normal compared to the 20 rack I was unloading every week. Her purse was by her chair, open, not even zipped. My eyes fell on her wallet. And before I could even think, before I could even rationalize it, my hands moved. I took out a crisp $80, $4.20, and slipped it into my hoodie bucket. I felt like I was watching myself do it. I felt outside my own body. She came back 2 minutes later, smiled, asked if I wanted to continue, and I nodded. We finished the session. She never mentioned anything, never looked at me differently. But I think she knew. I ghosted her, canceled my next appointment, blocked the reminder emails. Every few weeks, I check her name on mine just to make sure she's still practicing, and she is. Sometimes I write apology letters in my notes app, but I never send them. Sometimes I think about mailing her $500 in cash with no return address. Sometimes I think about walking back into her office and telling the truth. But I'm afraid she'll hate me, or worse, that she'll forgive me. Because I think that would break me more than the guilt already has. Man, this is a crazy story, and think about the position that he was in when his only hope was that therapist, and he still messed up and betrayed the only person that could help him. And she probably still has no idea. I mean, you've had some serious self-reflecting to do, in my opinion. Because it's sad, it's really sad. Let's move on to the third story. I never imagined the happiest moment of my life would turn into the thing that made my husband look at me like a stranger. I, 29F, gave birth to our daughter 6 months ago. It was a rough delivery. 36 hours of labor, an emergency C-section, and 2 blood transfusions. I barely remember the first day of her life because I was so out of it, but I remember the first time I held her. She had the tiniest fingers, the softest skin, and these huge hazel eyes that stared up at me like she already knew what it was. My husband, 31M, was quiet. He smiled, sure, kissed my forehead, told me I did great, but the next morning I noticed it. The way he looked at her like she was a puzzle he couldn't figure out. He barely held her. When the nurses offered, he declined, said he was tired. In the weeks that followed, things changed. You stopped calling her our girl. You started making jokes, offhand comments that stung more than he probably realized. Who knew UPS guys had such cute kids? She doesn't look like me, but maybe she'll grow into it. I laughed it off at first. I didn't want to believe it, but I noticed he stopped posting about her. Didn't show pictures to friends, never volunteered to take her off my hands so I could rest. And so I confronted him one night. Our baby was asleep, and we were sitting in the kitchen. I asked him point blank, "Do you think she's yours?" He looked down at his hands and didn't answer. That silence said everything. We've been together for 8 years. Met in college. Lived in a crummy apartment above a bar. Ate canned soup for dinner half the week. We built this life together. Our house, our dog, our daughter. And he thought I cheated. Without even asking. Without even talking to me about it. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept hearing his voice in my head, or the lack of it. The silence. The way he pulled away when our daughter reached for him. I felt like a single mother in a marriage. I get a paternity test the next week, behind his back. I swabbed the baby when she was napping, and then swabbed his toothbrush while he was in the shower. I felt sick doing it, like I was betraying him, even though he was the one who doubted me. The results came back a week later. 99.999% match. I stared at the paper for a long time. I thought I'd feel vindicated, like finally, now I can shove this in his face and demand an apology. But I just felt tired, so deeply tired, because no piece of paper was going to undo the months of distance, the way he looked at her, the way he made me feel like a liar. I haven't told him yet. I don't think I want to. Part of me wants to wait. Let him stew in his guilt. Let him keep wondering. Maybe then he'll understand how I felt to be alone in the hospital room, holding our daughter while the man I love looked at her like she was someone else's on the stage. But another part of me, the part that remembers all those years together, the laughter, the quiet mornings, the love, wants to fix this. To make him see what he's missing. I just don't know which part of me is stronger. That is a crazy situation to be in my opinion, and it's crazy that your husband just didn't communicate at all and immediately assumed you cheated without even bringing it up or just, making those offhand remarks. But on the other hand, I kinda dare it. I don't know what I would do if I would suspect that, my daughter wasn't mine. I definitely felt like he could have gone about this way better. And I also feel like you need to tell him that. He is the father. You are very disappointed with the way he acted. Because it's his daughter and he wouldn't even look at her. That's messed up. Let me know in the comments where you guys thought of this story and if you have any advice for the mom. And for the dad, of course. Let's move on to story number 4. I found out my fiance has been living a double life. Literally. I, 28F, have been engaged to blank, 31M, for about a year and a half. We met at a mutual friend's New Year's party 4 years ago. He made me laugh when I was trying not to cry in the bathroom because my ex had come out with a new girl. Cliché, I know. But it felt like a movie. That night, we sat in a car in the snow for 3 hours just talking about everything and nothing. He told me he was in consulting, traveled a lot for work, and I didn't question it. Things moved kind of fast. Within 6 months, we were inseparable. He'd be gone for a week or two at a time, but when he came back, flowers, cooking, the kind of attention that made me feel like I was the only person on the planet. And honestly, I didn't question it. I grew up with a single mom who worked double shifts. I was used to people disappearing and reappearing. To me, it was normal. We got engaged on a rooftop. Classic skyline, fairy lights, photographer hiding behind a pot plant, the works. I cried, he cried, my mom called me sobbing. It was perfect. Until 3 months ago, Blank had gone on a work trip to Chicago. Nothing new. I was house sitting, watering the plants, cleaning up. I don't even know what made me do it. But maybe some sixth sense. Maybe the fact that he'd left his iPad behind for once. But I opened it, and I found another iCloud account. Different name, different email, photos synced, and I almost threw up. There were pictures of him, where not a woman, and 2 kids. A boy and a girl. They called him Daddy. I stared at a picture of Blank, my Blank, wearing a goofy apron that said Grill Sergeant next to a woman blowing out candles. Her cake said Happy 9th Anniversary. My ears were ringing. I kept scrolling. Dozens of pictures, videos, him reading bedtime stories, him carving pumpkins, him building IKEA furniture. A life. A whole goddamn life. I went cold. I couldn't cry. I couldn't scream. I couldn't even think. I just sat there on the floor, holding this man's iPad like he was a bomb that had already gone off. When he got home 2 days later, I didn't confront him immediately. I wanted to see what he'd say. I wanted to know how far the lie went. So I played dumb. How was Chicago? Cold, he said, smiling. Missed you. He kissed my forehead like nothing happened. That night, I turned the iPad around and asked, Who are they? He went pale. Didn't say a word. Just stared. Start talking, I said. My voice sounded alien in my own ears. He sat down, buried his face in his hands, and started sobbing. He told me he met her 10 years ago. Her name is Lisa. And they met before he met me. They had never fully legally married, but they had kids together. He said it wasn't love anymore, but he didn't want to abandon the kids. But she had no idea about me, and that the work trips were actually him going back to them. I asked if he loved her, he didn't answer. I asked if he loved me, and he said yes. I just asked how many other women there were. He said, just you two, like that was supposed to make it better. And the worst part is I still loved him. Sitting there, heart shattered. I wanted to believe he could fix it, that he was telling the truth now, but something inside me snapped. I packed a bag and left that night. I don't tell anyone why, not even my mom, not yet. I've been sleeping on a friend's couch ever since. I found a therapist, I blocked him on everything, but last week, he showed up at my job. Had the audacity to hand me a handwritten letter begging for another chance, saying he'd leave Lisa, that I was the one he wanted, that he could explain everything. I read the letter once, then I ripped it up and tossed it in the trash in front of him. He started crying again, real tears, but this time, I didn't care. I'm done. I'm not a chapter in someone's double life. I'm not the footnote to someone's decade-long lie. And I hope Lisa finds out too. Man, what a crazy situation. Think about that for a second. You meet someone and you spend 4 years of your life together, only to find out they have a whole different family, and he's been lying to you all this time. I mean, I've had friends in the past who have the same thing where they have been together with someone and turns out the whole time they were cheating on him. But that's crazy. Like, imagine that happens to you. I don't even know what I would do. Genuinely. I'll be really depressed. Let me know in the comment section if you have any advice for this woman, and to Lisa, who has, 2 kids with him and has no idea. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a bit of a long one. If you liked it though, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, and comment down below what was your favorite story. And if you want me to do more of these, let me know as well. I'll see every one of you in the next video.